I was in a cafe this morning, and I was kind of eavesdropping, as you do.
Of course.
And I heard this sentence. It was something like, I think the guy who you said you met yesterday might have left his umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat there staring at my coffee thinking, how? How does a brain just compute that in real time?
Right.
We talk about language like it's this stream of consciousness, this art. But what if, underneath all that, it's actually geometry?
It's a bit of a paradigm shift, isn't it? We're so used to the output, the words and the sounds that we forget there's an engine room.
An engine room. I like that.
And if you look at the blueprints for that engine, you don't find poetry. You find structure. You find shapes.
And today, we are walking right into that engine room. We are doing a deep dive into what is, it's absolute bedrock for modern linguistics. Minimalist program fundamentals, X-bar theory, and local relations.
It really is.
And I have to say, that word minimalist in the title, it's doing a lot of work here. This isn't minimalist like a clean apartment. It's minimalist like a microchip.
That's a great comparison. This is basically Noam Chomsky and his colleagues stripping the whole machine of grammar down to the absolute studs.
Right.
The question they're asking isn't just how does grammar work, it's what is the simplest, most efficient way a biological system the brain could possibly build a sentence.
So it's like Marie Kondoing the English language. Does this complicated rule spark joy? No. Okay, get rid of it.
Essentially, yeah. The text we're unpacking today argues that we just don't need dozens of these old clunky rules. You don't need one rule for questions, another for passives.
You just need what? One shape?
You need one specific geometric shape, that's X-bar theory, and a couple of laws of economy.
Economy. That keeps coming up here. This idea that language is lazy.
Or efficient, depending on your perspective.
Right? Efficient. It wants to do the least amount of work possible.
Nature loves efficiency. And the source argues that our language system is perfectly designed to minimize effort.
So, okay, let's start with the shape. The source says the computational system needs a specific format to work with, and that's X-bar theory.
Exactly.
For anyone listening who hasn't stared at a syntax tree since college or ever, what are we looking at?
X-bar theory is, it's essentially the universal template. The claim is that every phrase in every language,
Every single language.
English, Japanese, Swahili, doesn't matter. It's all built from the same structural DNA. And the text says there are two non-negotiable features. First, it's made of projections of heads.
Okay, let's define that. A head is just the main word, right? The anchor.
Right. It's a word you pull from your mental dictionary. A noun, a verb. That's the head. The structure grows out from there. But the second feature, that's the one that's really controversial.
Strict binary branching.
Strict binary branching.
Meaning you can only ever split into two.
Always two, never three.
That seems so restrictive, though, doesn't it? If I say the big red dog, that feels like three things clumping.
But the theory says your brain doesn't see it that way. It's not clumping through things. It's taking two, say, red and dog, and making a single unit. Then it takes that new unit and combines it with big. It's a series of twos.
It's like Lego bricks. You can't snap three bricks together at the exact same time. You snap two, then you add the third one on top.
That's the perfect intuition, and by forcing the system to be binary, you really limit the number of possible relationships. In fact, the text says there are only two local relations that matter in this whole geometry.
I saw these. Head complement and specifier head. They sound like, engineering terms.
They are, in a sense. The head-complement relation is the core connection. That's where the action happens. Who's doing what to whom? If the head is eat, the complement is the apple. They're right next to each other.
So head complement is the action zone. Kick ball, eat apple. Got it. So what's this other one, specifier head?
The specifier is a position that's a bit higher up in the structure. The text basically treats it as the elsewhere category.
The catch-all drawer.
Exactly. If it's not the core action, it's probably handled there. And this is where you find things like subjects, agreement, that sort of thing.
And what's really interesting is what this replaces, right? Linguists used to be obsessed with this idea of government.
For decades, the idea that a verb governs everything around it like a little dictator.
Government and binding theory, that was the gold standard.
It was, but this source just says, look, it's too messy, it's too vague. If we stick to these two simple, rigid, geometric relations, head complement and spec head, we can explain everything government used to, but with, like, half machinery.
It's like they're throwing out the big, clunky Swiss Army knife and replacing it with a scalpel.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, so we've got the shape, binary branches, Legos. Now, how do we actually build a sentence? because words don't just stay put, do they? They move. And this is where case theory comes in.
Right. Case theory is just the rules for why we say I sawed him and not, me saw he.
Your nouns need to get their role approved.
They need to get their case checked. And the old way of thinking was that the verb just kind of reached out and governed the object to give it case.
But wait, we just threw out government?
We threw it out, so now we have a problem. How does the object get its case if the verb can't just reach over and zap it?
And the text proposes this unified theory, right? It says we just treat subjects and objects in the exact same way.
This is the real aha moment in the text. Instead of different rules for subjects up high and objects down low, the minimalist program says, everybody move.
Everyone have to climb the ladder.
Precisely. The text lays out the skeletal structure for a sentence. So picture a ladder.
Okay, got the mental picture. What's at the top?
At the very top, you have a node called AgrS. That's subject agreement.
AgrS.
Below that, T-tense.
Okay.
Below that, AgrO, object agreement. And way at the bottom, the verb itself, V.
So, AgrS, T AgrO V.
That's the spine.
That's the spine.
Yeah.
Now, the words enter at the bottom, but they get pulled up. The verb raises up to AgrO. Tense raises up to AgrS.
The functional parts are sort of reeling in the lexical parts.
Yes. And the nouns, the subject, and the object, they have to chase them. They both have to get into that spec-head relationship to get their features checked. Okay, I'm picturing this. The subject goes to the penthouse, AgrS. The object goes to the mezzanine, AgrO. But wait a minute. Looking at the diagram here, there's a problem.
You've spotted it.
If it's a ladder,
Yeah.
and the subject starts out low, and the object starts out even lower, then for the object to get to the mezzanine and the subject to get to the penthouse, doesn't the object have to jump over the subject?
It does. Their paths cross.
That just feels wrong. I mean, if you're in line at the grocery store, you can't just leapfrog the person in front of you. You'd expect nested paths,
Yeah.
and I go, then you go behind me.
And for a long time, linguists thought that was impossible. There's this principle called relativized minimality.
Which is a fancy way of saying what?
Don't move past something that looks just like you. An object is a noun phrase. A subject is a noun phrase. So the object should be blocked by the subject.
But it's not. I mean, we say John ate the apple all the time. The system doesn't crash.
Exactly. So the text frames this as a huge puzzle, the crossing mystery. Why is this one specific violation of the traffic rules okay?
And the answer goes back to economy.
Economy of derivation. We're balancing steps. The text points out this tension between two ideas. One is shortest move. Don't go farther than you have to. The other is fewest steps. Don't make too many stops along the way.
Right. The direct flight versus a bunch of short layovers.
Good analogy. And the system resolves this with something called form chain. It says movement isn't a series of little hops. It's one single operation that creates a link between where you started and where you end up.
But that still doesn't solve the leapfrog problem, does it? Even if it's one big leap, you're still crossing a blocked path.
And that is where equidistance comes in. This is probably the most ingenious part of the whole theory.
Okay, you have to break equidistance down for me, like really simple.
All right. To get equidistance, you have to think about domains. Every head, like a verb, controls its own little territory, its neighborhood.
The verb's turf. Got it.
Right. Now, remember we said the verb moves. It raises up and latches onto that AgrO node.
It goes to the mezzanine.
Yes. And here's the magic trick. When the verb moves up, it effectively stretches its neighborhood. It expands its domain.
Wait, what?
Because the verb is now linked to that higher position, the spot where the subject is sitting and the spot where the object wants to go are now considered part of the same minimal domain.
So by moving the verb, the system just kind of fudges the distance.
Fudges is one way to put it. Formally, it makes them equidistant. So the object looks up, it sees the subject, but because the verb moved and expanded the room, the system says, hey, that spot you want to go to is technically just as close as the spot that guy's standing in.
So it can just slip past. The verb moving creates a loophole in the traffic laws.
Exactly. It's like the verb distracts the referee so the object can sneak by.
That is absolutely wild.
Yeah.
Let's use a real sentence. My head is spinning a bit. The source uses, John put the book on the shelf.
A classic. So way down at the bottom, you have the verb put, and you've got the book and John all huddled together.
Right.
As we build the sentence, put raises up the ladder.
It extends the domain.
Right. And because put raises, it unlocks the movement. The book can now legally cross over John to get to the object agreement spot, and then John moves all the way to the top.
And if put didn't move for some reason.
The whole thing would crash, the derivation fails, the object gets trapped,
There's an even weirder example in here involving baboons.
Ah, yes. Baker's example from the language teacher. The sentence is something like, the baboons made hit the children.
Made hit, so that's two verbs glued together.
It's called incorporation. The verb hit physically merges into the causative verb make.
Okay, so why use such a strange example?
It's the perfect proof of concept. In English, we don't see the verbs merge like that, but in Chichewa you do, and the text shows that because hit moves all the way up to make, it creates this massive domain.
A superdomain.
A superdomain. And because that domain is so huge, the object, the children, can move all the way past the subject, the baboons, to get its case checked. It's visible proof that the head moving is what unlocks everything else.
It's so mechanical. It's not just, this is how we speak. It's, this is the only way the machine can possibly run.
That's the insight. And the text even offers a proof for why it must be this way. It asks, well, why can't the subject just move to the object spot? Why not stop at the first available chair?
Right. If John is passing the object agreement node, why not just stop there? It's closer.
Think about the geometry. If the subject, John, stopped at AgrO, he's now occupying that spot.
Seats taken.
And where does the object go? It's still stuck down below, and its only available landing spot is now blocked. It would be, in their words, frozen in place.
And if it's frozen?
The derivation crashes, the whole sentence fails, the system can't compute it.
So the subject has to go high,
Yeah.
and the object has to tuck in underneath. It's forced by the geometry. We don't have a choice.
It is the only option that doesn't break the machine.
You know, you lay it all out like that. It's just,
Yeah.
you know, we think we're being so creative with our words, but really we're just running these high-speed calculations every time we talk.
And with incredible efficiency. That's the whole minimalist part.
So what does this do to the labels we learned in school? You know, nominative case, accusative case. I spent years memorizing those tables in German.
This is one of the most provocative ideas in the text. It suggests that those terms, nominative, accusative, they don't actually have any real meaning.
No meaning. Come on, that hurts a little.
I know, sorry. But the text argues that the difference between a language like English and, say, an ergative language isn't some deep philosophical thing. It's just a toggle switch.
A toggle switch.
Yeah. It just depends on which agreement node happens to be active. If the top one, AgrS, is active, you get nominative marking. If the bottom one, AgrO, is active, you get something else. The labels are just descriptions of which switch was flipped.
So the variation we see between languages, which feels so massive when you're trying to learn one, is just a minor setting in the software.
Under the hood, we're all running the same XBAR operating system.
This pushes linguistics really, really close to being a hard science.
It does. I mean, if language is just objects moving through a geometric field following laws of economy, is that biology? Is it physics?
That's the question, isn't it? Maybe we aren't special because we have language in a cultural sense. Maybe we're special because we have this very specific kind of computational crystal growing inside our brains.
A crystal that only allows binary branching.
Yeah.
Twos. Always twos.
So the next time you're in a cafe and you hear someone say, "I dropped my latte," don't just hear the spilled milk.
No, look deeper than that.
Hear the geometry. Hear the verb drop, raising up to stretch its domain. Hear I soaring to the top in my latte, tucking in right underneath, crossing paths in this perfect equidistant dance.
It's a hidden ballet in every single sentence.
A ballet of the mind. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us. It's dense stuff, but man, is it elegant.
It's beautiful machinery.
Catch you on the next dive.